Hello students, in this lesson let us study about the testing of lime second part. Okay, so in this we will study 4 tests. So the first test is the workability test. I have named this 6 because already the 5 tests we have studied in the previous lesson. Okay, now the workability test of lime is conducted on the standard flow table, which you can see here. So this is a side view, this is your side view, front view, this is your front view, this is your side view, right? This is your top view. So if you see, it's like a table, okay, circle with some screw or a wheel type of a thing to rotate, and there will be 3 grooves on the surface like this with certain diameter. So the first diameter is 70, second diameter is 110, and the third diameter is 190. Right, total diameter you can observe is 300 up to the outer surface. There will be 6 equally spaced rivets. Right, along with this we will be using a truncated conical mold for doing the test. Now for testing the hydrated lime, what we have to do is we have to prepare the lemon putty. Now how do we do is we thoroughly mix 500 grams of hydrated lime with equal mass of water, and this mix has to be done at a temperature of 27 plus or minus 2 degree centigrade, and we have to keep it for 24 hours. Now this soaked material should be thoroughly mixed, knocked up, so that we produce a plastic putty. Now this has to be done by passing it to the mixer twice, 2 times. Okay, after we do this, we have to get the lime putty to the standard consistency. Now we have to make sure that this standard consistency is applicable for doing the plastering work. Any plastering work we want to do, whatever is the consistency required, for that consistency we have to get our lime putty. So how much is the standard consistency? How can you indicate this, or how can you know this? Is the average spread of the lower part of lime putty should be equal to 110 mm with a permissible deviation of not more than 1 mm. Okay, so this is not more than this much of deviation is allowed. Okay, now when this should happen with one pump, which you give on your standard flow table. Right, what you will do if your consistency is too stiff? So if it is too stiff, we have to add more water, and if it is too wet, we have to remove water. So adding water, you can add a small quantity to the mixture which is already there and just mix it. If you want to remove the water, what you have to do is you have to place the mix, whatever you have done, for a short period on a clean absorbent surface, so that a small amount of water is removed out from it, and then you can use it for the test. Right, so once you do this, what you do, you put the putty into the mold, fill it so that there are no air bubbles or voids. Whenever we are doing this test, we have to make sure that we maintain a temperature of 27 plus or minus 2 degree centigrade. Right? What we should do is we have to clean the top of this table and dry it. So clean and dry. This cone is there, no? That we have to put it in the exactly center of this particular mold or table, right? And then remove it. Place cone on center of table and fill putty, then remove it. Now, once we remove it, what we have to do is we have to rotate this handle of the turning table at a speed of 1 rotation per second. Right. After that, we can calculate the average spread of material. So we have to take 3 diameters which are approximately at 60 degree apart, and then we have to take the average. So how can the workability be obtained is you can estimate the workability with the help of the number of bumps which are required to attain a average speed or spread of 190 mm. That will be your workability. Okay, that's the reason the last diameter, if you observe, is given as 190. So this is all about the workability test. Next, let us move to the setting time test. So we are not discussing major on the setting time test because the initial and the final setting time of your hydrated lime is done with the help of the Vaquetas apparatus. Same in the way as you do it for the Portland cement. So in the further chapters, you'll study about the test on Portland cement. There, the details of this will be explained. In the same way, instead of using cement there for doing the test, we have to use the lime. That's the only difference. Okay, and there we are going to use the cement mortar, and here we are going to use the lime putty. Okay, so please have a look there. Now, next test is the soundness test. Now, what we generally do in the soundness test is to find the quality of the lime, or we can call the unsoundness or disintegration property of lime. This test is done with the help of an apparatus named Le-Chatelier's apparatus. So what we do here is, in order to test the hydrated lime, we have to mix the hydrated lime with the standard sand 1:3:12 ratio in a dry condition. Okay. After this, we have to gauge the mixture and then add 12% of mass of water as calculated on the dry mix to it. Okay. So we will take 3 molds. Initially, we have to grease the molds so that the material won't stick to the surface of the molds, and these molds should be placed on a non-porous plates. Okay, and then we have to place the mix whatever we have done into these molds. So what we have to do is we have to cover the molds with again the non-porous plates, and some small amount of weight is placed on these particular molds, so that the water which is mixed doesn't get evaporated. Okay, so we have to leave these 3 molds undisturbed for about 1 hour, and then the distance between the indicator points are measured. Distance between indicated points. Now what we do is we keep the apparatus. So this is your first step, right? Now the same apparatus is kept in damp air for about 48 hours and then subjected to a steam, generally at the atmospheric pressure, for 3 hours. Then what we have to do, we have to cool the sample for room temperature, and again the distance between the indicator point is measured. Now this, let us call the indicator point measurement as I1, and this is the indicator measurement point as I2. So the difference in these two measurements, I1 minus I2, should not be more than 10 mm after deduction of 1 mm. Of 1 mm, to allow for the expansion of the added cement. Okay, here we have to even add cement. Hydrated lime in the ratio of 1, cement in the ratio of 3, and the standard sand in the ratio of 12. Whatever is this number which is obtained will be taken as the net expansion of lime. So this is how we check the soundness of the cement. This is generally done with the help of the reference of IS 6932 part 9, 1x or part 9. Now the next test what we have is the popping and pitting test. This is done according to IS 6932 part 10 or part X. Now if you want to test the soundness of fat lime, that the previous one was a general soundness test, and suppose you want to test the soundness especially for the fat lime, then you are going to do the popping and pitting test, where you are going to prepare pats by mixing hydrated lime plus plaster of Paris plus water. Then you subject this pats to steam and then test it for disintegration. Popping and pitting. If any of this occur, either disintegration or popping or pitting, then you say that the lime is unsound. If any one or all occur. Understood? So what we do is we take 70 gram of hydrated lime and mix it with 70 ml of clean water at a temperature of 27 plus or minus 3 degree centigrade, and keep it for 2 hours. So whatever is the lime putty which is obtained from this is thoroughly mixed and then knocked off with towel. Now you have to spread this putty over a non-porous material or a surface. So once you put the lime putty on this surface, you have to, on top of this, put 10 grams of plaster of Paris evenly over this, and then mix the whole thing rapidly and thoroughly for 2 minutes. Now what we do is we take this gauged material and press it in small quantities with the aid of a broad palette knife or a spatula. Okay, so we take a knife or a spatula and put it in the ring mounts. So these are your ring mounts, which are generally of 100 mm in dia and 5 mm deep. So put the mixture in this with the help of a spatula and then form a smooth flat part on the top of the putty by smoothing the top surface. Now when you are making this a smooth surface, you make sure that you are not taking more than 12 strokes of knife to do this, or the spatula. So the entire process of making this should be completed in 5 minutes after the addition of plaster of Paris. As soon as you put the plaster of Paris, to end this process, you have only 5 minutes. So 4 of such pads you have to make. So then do the oven drying. The temperature of the oven dry should be kept around 35 to 45 degree centigrade, and these have to be kept for 16 hours. If any of the 4 test patch show any cracks, then these should be rejected. Now what you will do is you will place this test patch, all 4 of them, horizontally, one above the other, like this, 1 2 3 4, like this. You have to place them in a steam boiler and should be subjected to a action of saturated steam for about 3 hours. Once you do this, you have to test them for if there are any disintegration. Popping means if they have come out, or pitting means if they have dropped in inside the flat surface. That is what you have to check. Okay, so this is how you do the popping and pitting test. So I hope the lesson is clear. In the next lesson we will study about some more tests. Thank you.